2020, baby. Yeah. Got the color, got the put. I can make the money both ways, always. I can buy the whole chain, go away. Got a lot of love and throwing no shit, no games, small change. I just made my own band. Probably trading stats we used to let the snoring, morning scoring.
Hello, people. Welcome back. Well, this week has been fantastic for the AI portfolio. We beat all three of our benchmarks, which is particularly good, and the portfolio hit an all time high this week. So, new all time high of 18.4%. Specifically, with respect to the benchmarks, we beat the NASDAQ and the Dow by more than half. And the S&P, the Nasdaq 100, we beat by more than 1.2%. So all in all, a fantastic week. As usual, we closed trades that were close to being more than 4 weeks old, and a couple of our trades also hit the stop loss. So in total, we closed 7 trades this week. So 2 in a loss, specifically Hess, which was a short hedge position, hit the stop loss of 10%. And Veritex also hit the stop loss of around 7%. So Veritex turned against us, given that they guided earnings growth downwards for the next quarter. So the market repriced the stock way lower than what we were expecting it to go. So we had to take a loss on that and build on that position. However, positions in both technology and semiconductor stocks did particularly well this week. Specifically, we closed our CrowdStrike position for around 13%. Our Fortinet position for around 10%. So these are stocks in the technology sector that seeks to protect what do you call it? These cloud infrastructures. That's specifically what these firms do. And we also closed our Adobe position again in the software industry for around 8%. And Maxim, which is in the semiconductor industry, we also closed our position for around 6%. And one of our favorite stocks, Candice, we closed for around 5%. So this is basically a momentum stock. It's also in the same space as both Fortinet and CrowdStrike. So all in all, February is looking very, very good compared to January. We are currently halfway through the month and we are up around 5.6%. So very, very good. And the return of the portfolio since inception, we continue to outperform all our benchmarks. Specifically, the S&P 500 has a return of around 12%. The NASDAQ of around 14 and the Dow around 9 compared to our performance of around 18%. So all in all, we're really beating our benchmarks. And we're doing it with a particularly low risk score. So our risk score is around 4. So the AI portfolio is really doing a good job, giving us a very high return with a very, very low risk score. Unfortunately, people seem to be bailing on the portfolio. So we've lost 2 copyists this week. So that brings our total copyists or investors down to 19. But what can we do? We trust the process. We're going to stick to the process and we're going to see where that takes us. So all in all, equity plot is looking very good. January did look particularly nasty. That's why a lot of people left. But February is beginning to look up. And hopefully with time, we can really differentiate ourselves from the main market, right? So there was a huge dip in the markets and there was a huge dip in the portfolio. And this is some of the stuff that we would look to really solve with better hedging, portfolio risk mitigation strategies going forward. So this is in terms of portfolio performance. In terms of PI performance, we're also doing not so bad. So what I'm doing here is I'm filtering out PIs, performance based on the last 6 months of returns. Granted, we only have around 4 months of returns. I'm restricting it to PIs who've been active for less than 18 weeks. So we've been less than active on this platform for 18 weeks. So let's compare ourselves to PIs of this sort. We take a reasonable daily drawdown of less than 5%, reasonable weekly of less than 10%. And what we find is that we're not too far off the top, right? So we are down here. I don't know if we're in the top 10. So this would be 2, this would be 4, this would be 6, this would be 8. So we're in the top 10 in terms of copies. Given that our copies keep leaving, maybe next week we'll fall down. In terms of returns, we're not in the top 10 of returns. If you sort by returns, we are nowhere in that list. So the number one person in terms of copyists is Get Investing, mainly because he has a YouTube channel, right? So if you look at his return, it's not so big compared to the return we've given, but his copyists is orders of magnitude larger than ours. And it's mainly because he has a YouTube channel and his YouTube viewers sort of believe in what he has to sell, and so they do invest in his portfolios. Second person, I guess, is more based on performance, so a return of around 90% in the 4-month period. So it makes sense that he has this large number of copiers. People on Etoro just like to see these crazy numbers, and they believe it's going to continue. So anyway, that's it for people, PIs that I'm in competition with, in a sense. If we go to the dashboard, how much assets do we have under management? Now it's gone. So if you have less than 20 copiers, your assets under management do not show anymore. So before that happened, the assets under management are stabilized around 15. And unfortunately, we cannot find out unless we get an extra copier for the next week. And the past month has been tough, right? So we've gained 6 new copiers over the last month, and we've lost 14 in all. So it's a net negative. At the height of the portfolio, we had around 25 copies and around 22K assets under management. Thanks to the rocky January, almost everybody, a lot of people left. The new people left, but most of the old people stayed. So going forward, hopefully we see better numbers in terms of the PI journey next week. But still, I believe we're doing a particularly good job because we're beating the benchmark. So we're really giving the AI portfolios, given investors what it promised, and that's what we should focus on. So that's it for this week. If you enjoy these videos, make sure to subscribe. If you want to see more of this, hit that like button. Leave a comment in the comment section so that the YouTube algorithm starts suggesting the videos to other people, and hopefully we keep them coming, and we keep growing this portfolio to heaven, or as young people would like to say today, as the AI takes this portfolio to the moon. See you guys and gals next week.
I told you I'ma do this, don't forget this shit a marathon. You make it move but stay in the same place, or West Peloton. Make $100 off a phone call, now that's a telethon. Benjamin's, Jefferson, YOLO to a ghetto spread. Yeah, you know I've been it there. Who's been like a Trinidad? I'm moving like a president.